My name is Nian Wei. I came to America in 1964 at the age of 19 from China in search for a better life. Back home I left my mother and brother because of the famine and opium wars occurring at the time. America was going to give me the money I could not make in China. I traveled alone for 2 weeks on a steamboat to California. On my voyage, it was a very tight trip. Many men crowded in the same room. The food was a disgrace and the health conditions of the ones around me got worse and worse as days went on. When I arrived in San Francisco, it was tough. Having no family and no home, I needed to find somewhere to go. Many of my friends and relatives have traveled here for the gold rush years previous to my coming. Many of those people were in the need for work, as was I. I heard a calling for Chinese immigrants to help with the construction of the railroad. I became part of the railroad workers building the western half of the Transcontinental Railroad in 1865. I made a monthly pay of $28. Myself and many other Chinese men surrounding me knew it was too much of a hassle to travel back to the city every night to sleep, so we built tents and camped out. We fished for our food and made it our lifestyle for quite some time. Being Chinese, we were discriminated a lot because we were easy to point out. When the railroad was finished in 1869, Americans wanted nothing to do with us Chinese. They thought it was okay to go against us for making very little money for such hard and dangerous work we always put in. Chinese were not allowed to vote or be held for elected office. We were blamed for job competition and depressed wages because we made little money from railroad companies. I never thought I was going to face this much discrimination. After the completion of the railroad, I made friends through my work and we traveled back to San Francisco and joined in crowds of others just like ourselves. We became part of Chinatowns. Many Chinese gathered in Chinatowns for a way of living where everyone was the same. Many were shoekeepers, restaurant owners, and hired workers. Not many of us have spoken English. The wealthier Chinese taught us lower class very little English. Violence was a big reason we stayed around Chinatowns. Murders happened. Not only violence, San Francisco was known for earthquakes and fires. When bad things happened, I always thought of my family back in China. The Burlingame Treaty of 1869 encouraged many Chinese to emigrate to the United States in greater numbers. The Working Man's Party acted quicker than my family did getting over here. The Working Man's Party cries led to more violence and burning of Chinese businesses. I wanted to try and bring my family over again, but the Naturalization Act of 1870 restricted immigration into the United States except to whites and Africans. Many knew that the male population of female was very high. If you found a nice girl, you should keep her because there aren't many here. When I couldn't bring my brother and mother over in 1870, I started working in a medicine store with my friend. I met his sister who has survived a trip over by herself years earlier. She was brave. Making pretty good money in rough times, I moved in with her and her brother. Her brother ended up being caught in the middle of some action and passed away, leaving the medicine store to his sister. Having children would be too hard for us to handle with our business. The future ahead was just about to get a lot more positive until our store got hit with whites' angry actions. Between the attacks and San Francisco's fires, our store couldn't handle the heat and burnt down, and we were caught inside.